So we're live.
Yay.
Yes. Hi, everyone. As usual, we'll just take a few minutes to just put out the links and the live streams everywhere on the social media, and we'll get it started in a minute or two, so it won't be too long.
Yeah, hopefully
Mhm.
will be a lot today because there's so many things to talk about.
Man, what a weekend. I can't
Oh
wait to
my
get
god,
into
I haven't recovered.
it.
Um, oh my god.
I'll just
Like,
send a few links out, and we'll be good after.
what's on?
So,
Chan's already there, man.
Oh, God
man,
love him. He's always there.
Oh, Chan, we love you,
Chan, it
man.
was great to live the game with you, man. He was sitting
Hmm
next to me, so it was really fun.
uh,
I'm
goodness.
almost ready.
Oh, I'm in my glasses. Like, I swear my contacts froze into my eyes yesterday.
I actually really thought I had frostbites on my feet, but
Oh
took some
no.
time. But they came back. I was a bit nervous after the game.
Okay,
Oh God.
for the people that just joined in, we'll be starting in a few seconds. So just like don't leave us yet. It's not the real show yet, but
Yeah, we're just
we're
preparing it.
just
So
preparing everything to make sure that everybody joins us.
Yeah.
So it won't be too long.
hi, simple
Um,
guy. I see you, man. Thank you for being here. Don't be too long, my friend. We're starting in a few.
For people that want to interact with us,
hey,
we suggest, of course, YouTube because YouTube it's
like we
really
get the
very easy,
notification.
and we get notifications exactly. If you do it on Facebook, we don't get it often, and same thing for Twitter. So
I
just
think
an FYI.
I think we do like sometimes on Facebook, but it depends. It's really specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't figure out Facebook yet on this show,
Mhm.
so
This struggle. You're
yeah.
coming down that other side of the hill now. Technology is passing you. Watch out. I'm getting old. That's a sign.
Okay, so guys, we can go whenever you
Let's
guys
go.
want.
I'm ready,
Let's
man.
do this with the 30
LSD.
seconds, as usual, the 30 seconds before the show.
Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Sevi, and this week on the show, the drought is over. Canada is qualified for Qatar 2022. The wait is over in Montreal too, as Gabriel Gervais is named president of the club, and Bev Priestman drops her list for the West Coast Celebration Tour. This and a lot more on episode 74 of The Ball is Round. And as usual, I'm joined by Adi Rafael and Eve Powell, who's just going to make a little cameo on the show, but she decided to stop by because she's still in Toronto after this fantastic weekend we all had in Ontario. How are you guys? Fantastic, eh?
Oh my God. Frozen, but fantastic.
Oh man, I don't have a voice anymore. So if sometimes my voice breaks, it's just because I think I yell too much during the show. So sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, my mom is in the same boat today. Actually, she has like no voice left.
Oh,
Somehow
man.
I do.
Yeah, so we all three of us were in Toronto for the Canada game. Unfortunately, we didn't really see her. So I saw Hattie at the airport this morning, but I was just sleepwalking, so we didn't share much of a conversation. But we did have the chance to see ourselves at the stadium. So I'll just start quickly, guys. Where were you in the stadium, and what kind of experiences was it for you guys? I start with you, Eve, because you're gonna
Yeah,
leave at some point, so I want to hear about of you
thanks.
as much as I can.
So I went with my mom, who of course like is the person kind of I share most of my soccer stuff with. And we went in the voyageur section. We went in 115, so we were smack behind the goal basically. And standing the whole stadium was standing the whole time,
Oh
I think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was awesome. There was a guy next to us, and he said he had been to every TFC game like since their inception, and he
What?
said yeah, and he said he's never seen an atmosphere like this, like even in 2017.
Like
Um,
when he went to the MLS Cup final and it
yeah,
wasn't that good?
yeah. No, 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 it wasn't as good as yesterday. I'm sure it was good, but he
Yeah.
said
Well,
this is like the biggest and the best he's ever seen. So it
amazing, man.
was, yeah, it was something else. Cold as all get out, but it's something else.
Yeah, Hattie.
Yeah, man, it was so cold, man. It's just not normal how cold it was.
It's
If you guys have seen my pictures on Twitter, I look like I gained like 20 million pounds. But no, it's just that I had like 5 or 6 things on me just because I was like freaking cold. Uh,
oh my
but
God, same.
but the atmosphere was like
Oh man.
amazing, amazing. But you know what? I don't think. Okay, can I be mean?
It's
I
always
think
place for it.
I think that we've experienced something like this when we were at at the Champions League final in the
Yeah.
stade in the Big O. So,
Yeah.
I think it's comparable. So maybe we're better than TFC
I think
public
we are,
wise.
But
man.
there were
I think we
more
are.
as well. Like there were more. There were a lot more people for that game too. But no, it was something else. Like that was because for me, I wasn't there for the game, the Champions League game in 2015. But so for me, that was like the biggest feeling I'd ever had at a soccer game.
Oh yeah, guys, I was at in section 221, so I was on the second floor, if we can say,
Mhm.
and we were really high, almost at the top, but you
Oh
could see
wow.
really well, and the atmosphere even there was amazing, and man, it was, I was surprised because we got there maybe short a bit, ten
Hmm.
minutes before the start of the game, and everyone was standing. And like you said, at some point I was expecting, people are just gonna sit down because that's how we do,
Hmm.
right? But everyone stayed standing the whole game. I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. It
Man,
Yeah.
just made it even better, man.
even if you wanted to sit down, you couldn't. There was snow on the fucking
Yeah.
on the things, right? So, and it
You
was
couldn't.
so
You had your
so
rally
cold.
towel to wipe it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, man, it was so cold that you're like, ah, no, I'm not gonna feel snow on my butt, you know?
Actually, like I bought a drink and my drink froze.
Oh man,
Oh yeah.
oh
Oh no,
man.
I went for coffee. Impossible. I would take something cold over there. Man, I was just
I
freezing,
thought
but
like
it was
even
worth it.
that being above freezing temperature would make me feel more, or the alcohol.
Oh man. And my
Oh my
friend
God, we're not
next to
even getting
me,
to the good part.
next to me, he's like, yeah, Jamaicans are gonna be really cold. I'm like, no, we are gonna be really cold because
Yeah.
Jamaicans are running. We're not
Oh my God,
running.
yes. No, the guy who was right behind my mom and I in the stadium, his tactic was to yell, "It's cold!" Over and over and over to like psych out the Jamaicans. And I was like, Andre Blake plays for Philadelphia. I think it gets cold there.
Yeah, he knows what it is. And the
Yeah,
left back, Lee of
Yeah.
yeah,
Jamaica, plays in League One in England, so he knows a bit of
yeah,
of what cold is. But guess there was actually a game through all of that, and
yeah.
Really? Really?
yeah, and before we talk about everything that this means for the country, we'll talk about the game a bit. But since we last talked, Canada lost 1-0 in San Jose in Costa Rica, and of course 1-4-0 at BMO Field. Let's concentrate, because it's such a positive and it's such a
Hmm.
fantastic,
Hell
moment
yeah.
for our country. Let's concentrate on the win, guys. There's not much to say about the defeat in Costa Rica. So you know what? John Herdman made some changes to the team that lost in Costa Rica. Some changes were forced as Mark Anthony Kay was suspended, while Sam Adekugbe was eligible as he had served his one-game ban for accumulating yellow cards. I'll just read out the lineup quickly. 4-4-2 I saw. Did you guys see a 4-4-2 as well?
Yeah.
Ish,
It was an
Buchanan was playing a
evolving.
bit higher.
Yeah, exactly. It was an evolving 4-4-2. Let's
Yeah,
call
yeah.
it that
It was
way.
a modern 4-4-2, I would say.
Exactly.
So in net, of course, Milan Borjan in defense from right to left, Richie Larea, Donald Henry, Scott Kennedy, Sanam Adekugbe, I'm sorry. In midfield, Tejan Buchanan, Jonathan Osorio, Stefan Estacchio, and Junior Hoylett. Up front, Kyle Aaron and Jonathan David. Guys, what did you think of the lineup? Did you see any surprises when the 11 came out? Maybe at center back? That was my surprise, but I'll talk about it after. I'll listen to you guys first.
I mean, he went with a back four again, same as in Costa Rica. Obviously, Costa Rica played Atiba Hutchinson at center back, which was not a true defender. But overall, I think Scott Kennedy is better in a central defender position. In a back four, I think he's like he appears a little perhaps more at home in that role. And Daniil Henry, I think Daniil Henry always surprises me, but with Stephen Vittoria injured, I think it was really important to have a veteran along that back line, knowing that Sam Adekugbe, Scott Kennedy, and I mean Richie Larea, sorry, is pretty experienced, but nonetheless, like feels good to have an older guy like locking it
Yeah, I
down.
gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised that Atiba didn't start because of the importance of the game, but where he went 90 minutes, I believe, he started the match anyway in Costa Rica. I can understand why he didn't.
Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah. I really feel that Kamal Miller is like 10 times the player that Scott Kennedy is. But that's like my personal opinion. He didn't have a bad game at all, Scott Kennedy, but I think Miller brings that extra
He has like a swag
in the back line. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel that same way, man.
He's able to move forward with the ball. He's able to create stuff. He's able to. He's I think a lot stronger on the man. Like when he's marking a man, he's a lot stronger, a lot fitter. But Scott Kennedy had a very good game. Don't get me wrong, for sure.
And I mean, that was a hard game in Costa Rica that they played, especially after going down a man. So I can understand for sure some rotation.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that for me was the surprise in the lineup. I was very surprised also to only see one player playing as a defensive midfielder with Estacchio, than two. We usually, John Herdman usually showed us someone that plays next to Estacchio, not Estacchio playing alone most of the time. But this time we saw that, Osorio was playing a bit higher for sure. So, it was a bit surprising. But no, the rest, I liked it. I love the way Laren and David, play together.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to credit again Kyle Laren. And for sure, because he scored a goal and everything, Jonathan David didn't. But
he creates the space.
Yeah, exactly. He creates the space, and even the movement of Jonathan David to not only create the space, but also to create how can we say it? To really, I don't know how to say it, but like the defense doesn't know how to deal with both of them. It's
yeah. He stretches them out. That's what I saw.
Exactly.
He stretches the center backs.
Yeah,
with
I was looking for stretching.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. Listen, guys. When the lineup came out, I was expecting some changes, maybe a bit higher up the field, but for sure, I wasn't expecting to see Donald Henry and Scott Kennedy playing together at center back in that back four. But I have to admit, I like both of their game. Yeah, you're right, Eddie. I think Kamal Miller is a better player than Scott Kennedy, but he's still a very reliable center back.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked his game. There's just something missing that maybe for sure we have that soft spot for Kamal Miller here, but when you look at Scott Kennedy, sometimes you say, yeah, what could have been with Miller in there. But I like this game, and Doniel Henry, he, for all the criticism and the kind of, you know, tag that people have on him, on his a bit of a
I think
rash player, sometimes of some physicality that's not a bit overused. I think he really played a sound game. He had a very, very
likewise.
good game until
Yeah,
he got injured. Up the field, like you said, Laren
David.
and David were amazing, but where much of my focus was, and I was blown away by how important and how well tuned these two players played was Adekugbe and Larea. They were
Mhm.
amazing. They were amazing, and
Both
I think
games, I
that's
thought
where we won
Larea
the
was
game.
fantastic. Sorry to
Oh
interrupt
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. And for a player who's not playing in England right now, he
Yeah.
didn't play one single second with Nottingham Forest, yes. And he comes out there and plays that way. It's really, really solid. So this is where I want to bring you guys, Um, the game did seem like a formality, but I think Canada did an impressive job, if you look at it a bit tactically, to overload spaces and really isolating Jamaican players. And we saw it a lot with Adekugbe on the left.
Hmm.
Adekugbe had a lot of space, but the space was created by some overloads in midfield that sucked the defenders, the Jamaican midfielders, into playing a bit out of position. And the opening ball afterwards to Adekugbe was always very good, but that required some work in midfield, and Canada did really, really well, in my opinion. And if yes, Adekugbe and Larea looked fantastic, but the motor of these plays opening up to them, I think it really came from Stefan Eustáquio, guys. Did you see
Hmm.
the same thing as me?
He's the maestro, right, of
Oh
that of
yeah,
that of
yeah.
that Canadian team, right? He's the one that really does everything from the back, and he's, I think, right now a lot of people talk about the Jonathan David and Alfonso
Hmm.
Davies, but I think that you cannot play without Steven Eustáquio.
Mm-mm.
It's impossible. It's the Victor Wanyama of Canada of Canada. He's that important. Um, he gels everything together, and that's exactly what you're looking for
Hmm.
from a deep lying midfielder. That's exactly what you're looking for. And the guy also is very good at winning the ball back.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he's, for me, he's the number one asset of this team. As simple as that.
I think he's an absolutely crucial player. And not only is he good at launching the attack, he delivers a delicious final ball
Man.
as well. I
That,
mean, that
that
that ball that he played Delarin for the first goal.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
he sold it so well. He kind of faked it. He shaped his
Hmm.
body into a shot and just played that
Yeah.
through ball. That was fantastic, and the timing of it. Because if Estacio releases that ball maybe half a second later, Laren is offside. So it takes a
Hmm.
lot of
Hmm.
a lot of parts to make that
Yeah.
that great play. And man, it was A1. I was sure it was offside in a sense, but when you saw the
Likewise.
replay, it was just on the line. It was great. It was
Yeah.
great. I want to ask you guys, how sound of a performance was it by the Canadians? Was it that we played really well, or the Jamaicans were only there because they had to be? They can't forfeit the game. And
I mean, Jamaica's in like a transition period right now, right? They have an interim coach, and they the squad that they called up isn't necessarily like their A squad. Several players weren't called for a variety of reasons. So I think for Jamaica, I kind of felt bad for them at the end of the day because the circumstances are really, really, really not ideal for their team in this game.
true.
But I mean, they showed up. They behaved professionally and
Yeah, yeah,
everything, certainly. So
yeah.
yeah,
I really think that Canada is a lot more talented than Jamaica.
yes.
But for me, Jamaica was gonna be like at the beginning of the Ocho. For me, Jamaica was the one that was gonna battle for the fourth spot along with Canada.
Hmm.
That's what I thought would happen because there was a lot of players that were about to get the nationality and be able to be eligible to play for the Jamaican national team. They had a list of players from England, from all over the world, playing in top leagues that were
Hmm.
supposed to really start playing for Jamaica. So for me, that Jamaican team had a lot of talent if they were able to really convince those players to wear Jamaican colors. Unfortunately, this didn't happen, and we saw that the team collapsed completely under Whitmore. And when Whitmore was pulled away, and now you have an interim head coach, not all the players are really concentrated on the Ocho anymore, because they didn't have a chance anymore to make it to the World
Mm-hmm.
Cup. Then it becomes a team that's not really motivated, right? um but also Canada is so much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Canada has so much talent, guys. So many good players were on the bench yesterday.
Yeah.
It's amazing the depth that we have
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not normal. Like we're living a golden generation. We're experiencing a golden generation. This is exactly what it is.
Well, golden generation, or just the tides is turning slowly as we're gonna
Yeah,
become maybe
Sam.
a bigger country, and because we had that kind of had that discussion with my friends when we were at the Airbnb after the game, and one said, are we gonna tell our maybe our children, if we have in 30 years, that we saw them qualify? And you know what I
Mm-hmm.
said, I think we're gonna say that often now, because
Mm-hmm.
it's changing. I think it's not like, okay, I'll give an example. It's not like when you make a diet and you lose like 5 pounds because you ate only like salad for 2 weeks. It's changes in your lifestyle that's happening right now, and the good things are gonna happen for the rest of your life. So that's how I see it. I
Wow.
think that
Oh
John
yeah.
Herdman, most well, all these guys that went that paved the way, but John Herdman has turned it around, and now slowly we're going exactly in the right
Yeah.
direction. And that's just my feeling. I might be completely wrong, but
No,
I
I
really
agree with
don't
you,
think
Sam.
it's a fluke right now.
No, I completely agree with you, Sam. Especially, we see the increase in relevance for this team in media. Thankfully, the final round of World Cup qualifying was broadcast on sort of more mainstream
Yeah,
TV. And over 1 million people watched yesterday
it's
on
amazing.
Sportsnet alone. So that's a good sign. And there were several matches around qualifying that got viewership numbers like that. So it feels like people are finally waking up. I mean, after years and years of the team admittedly playing themselves into redundancy, and the organization as a whole, which I've gone on about too much. Um, so no, I agree with you, Sam. I think the tide is turning, and soccer is gonna become a way more relevant sport finally.
Let's hope that the other teams don't from CONCACAF region don't really wake up because we've
I
seen
think
we've
it's too
seen
late.
we've seen the golden generation of Costa Rica, right?
Yeah.
And right now they're still here. Most of them are still here. They're in their 30s. That's why the team is now still going strong and has still a chance to qualify for the World Cup because of that golden generation that we saw in
Hmm.
2014, right? So let's hope that it's not a one-off, a one generation thing, and let's hope that
Hmm.
Canada soccer builds on that, and
Hmm.
the soccer in Canada altogether. But for that, you need to build the whole structure and continue on
Hmm.
building the whole structure. We
Yeah.
talked about MLS joining the Canadian teams joining MLS. Then we talked about the CanPL. That's a really really important step for Canada
Hmm.
to broaden their horizons. But now you need CanPL to thrive,
Hmm.
to be a country that really continues on improving and continues on being such a formality in the World Cup stages. Now you're gonna tell me, yeah, we're gonna switch to 48 teams in the World Cup starting 2026, so it's gonna be a bit easier
We'll
for
be okay.
Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is going to be very important. Maxime Smith agrees with me. Says CPL growth is going to be very
Of
important, and
Yeah.
that's
course, yeah,
exactly
he's right,
true. So
100%, man. Yeah,
yeah, no, it's exciting times in Canada. Exciting times to be a Canadian national team supporter.
Yeah.
Exciting times to be a podcaster. in
Oh
Canada, right?
yeah. And we didn't join the bandwagon. We were doing it before all of this. That's
Yeah, yeah, we've
important.
been doing that for for
We
what,
were
a year and a half
stalking.
now.
Oh, easily, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Easily. Oh, Adi, do you want to put the NHLPA's NHLP 5000? Don't forget John Herdman, guys. I was
Oh my
coming
God,
here.
how could we?
Um, guys, I just want to bring you back a bit to when John Herdman was appointed as Canada manager. A lot was said at the start of his tenure about his tactical inability. I want to ask you guys, do you think this line of thought is still relevant today?
Oh my God, I gotta hide myself with shame.
And no, but Eve, you were one between
Of men.
so many people. There were
Yeah.
a lot of skeptics when you went from the women to the men
Mhm.
team.
Like, I'm not
Um,
gonna lie, I was mad in general. Like, I felt like they had sniped him from the women's team, and then of course we know who took over the women's team and what a disaster that was, unfortunately. But now the women's team has Bev Priestman, so life is good. Eventually. So I actually was like kind of offended, I'm not gonna lie, when the men's team picked up John Herdman. Um, and yeah, I did, but obviously, Sam, you've helped me see a little bit of the tactical light when it comes to Herdman. And I think, it was definitely, I think, probably growing pains as well for him in the early days, right? Um, he worked in the Sunderland Academy, sure, but in general, he had mainly managed women's teams. And the football does play differently for sure, between the men's teams and the women's teams. Um, but I think what he has mainly going for him is that intense motivator status. Like, he seems to be such a player's coach.
Yeah, I agree that he's a player's coach. I completely agree with that. I wasn't one of the skeptics when he was named. I wrote back then. I remember I had my own website back then. It was a long time ago. I had my own website and I wrote an article that was the 12 works of John Herdman, to go back to Asterix and Obelix. And I wrote that article and I said, this is what he needs to do. And you know what? He did everything that I wrote on that
Mhm,
list. And what's really nice about John Herdman is that not only he helped the national team program, evolve. He evolved
of
himself.
course,
He
yeah, yeah.
became
mhm,
better
Oh
himself.
yeah.
He improved so much, so
mhm.
much. You do remember, guys, when we at one point we were discussing a game here, and we were like, what the hell is going on with John Herdman? Just pushing Alfonso Davies from the left to the right to
Oh
the
yeah,
middle. That's all
yeah,
he was doing as a from the tactical point of view.
yeah.
I
And now
remember
you
that
see
that
that,
episode. Yeah.
yeah, and now you see John Herdman playing games with tactics that we can't even describe. Right?
Mm,
You talked about the 4-4-2 at the beginning of the show, and
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
We're not even able to say what kind of tactics he uses anymore, because it changes so much, it
Mhm,
evolves so much. So that means that John Herdman evolved himself also. Now, is he
mhm,
the best tactician in the world?
No,
No, we're
no, of
far
course
from
not.
that. But the guy is improving. The guy has always been a very good motivator, great with media also, and
mhm.
that's really, it's, every time you ask him a question, his answer, you can write a whole article on one of his answers,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's
Mhm,
poetic when he talks, right? So communications wasn't a problem. The only thing that he had was his lack of tactical awareness, but now he's trying to learn from that and to teach you to experience, to get more experience on the tactical side of things.
mhm,
And that's what's really interesting about John Herdman. He's evolving himself, and that's what I love about it.
But to talk about the tactics, I think there's one thing that people might miss well won't see the same way as others is um not because your tactics are simple that they're not good. And
yeah.
what I like of John Herdman, it's very, very simple. It's clean football. It's
Mhm,
offensive minded, direct football. It's simple, and it's easy to see that everyone, jumps into the boat and goes. And it's, I mean, there's no point in overusing tactics if your team is not that in that way. And I
Mhm.
think Herman really balances well, playing some crafty football, a bit tactically worked on, or just letting the players express themselves. And he really found a balance, and that's when you see players really evolving. Sama Dekugbe is a great example, and I've talked about it at the start of the show. But his emergence at left back, and the way that John Herdman is open to use him, is a huge step for us in the sense that we don't need to use Alfonso Davies at left back anymore. He can
Mhm.
play much higher up the field now,
Mhm.
because Sama Dekugbe is able to play exactly his style that suits him perfectly, and he's able to defend by the mean way. So now maybe you're going to Qatar, and Alfonso Davies is going to play maybe as an inside winger. We saw him even play as a number 10 on some occasions. This is really, really exciting going forward. And this is, emergence of players, but tactical versatility too from the coach, who was open to try these systems, try these players in these positions, and it's paid off fantastically for me. So it's uh,
Mhm.
it's it's great. I mean, I tip my hat off to John Herdman, because I didn't really have an opinion when he was named. I kind of thought that it was maybe thrown there a bit like an interim, uh,
Mm.
well, while waiting for someone a bit with a bigger status to be appointed. But that was all wrong. I mean, he was there for the job, and he took it right on. And now going into the World Cup, I'm not even nervous to see how he's gonna react tactically in that kind of tactical chess game with other big time managers, because I think he's able to handle it now.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. Guys, we'll just go move on quickly. The second half. Was there any thoughts on the second half, guys? Pretty much straightforward for us, really.
I was happy. I was very cold, but I was happy. Yeah, it was. I liked the third goal in particular. You had Tajon Buchanan. He had a lot of time to make up his mind, and Junior Hoylett made a run that wasn't tracked by anyone in particular. And then, boom, I think Junior Hoylett got a really well-deserved goal, because we didn't talk about him very much, but he was really active on the pitch during the match.
Yeah, he made a lot of errors in the first half.
Yeah,
You
it was
know,
a bit tough in the first half for him.
it
Yeah,
was a bit tough for
It
him in
was
the
so
first half.
cold though, and
Yeah,
like the
he's
with the
excused.
wind, I think honestly the pitch might have let him down a little.
yeah, but I agree that it's nice for him that he was able to score that goal, a beautiful goal,
Mhm.
by the way. But I want to talk about the first maybe 15 minutes of the second half. I thought that Canada lost concentration
Yeah,
and
I'd
gave
agree
the
with you
ball
there.
back. Yeah, gave the ball back to Jamaica. I didn't like that. Demons came back in my mind, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, I heard, Eve's voice in the back of my head, right? Like,
Eh,
they're gonna score. They're gonna
don't jinx
score a
it!
couple
Don't
of
jinx
goals.
it!
Don't jinx it. Don't
Oh
jinx.
my
Yeah, exactly.
god! When they were speaking at halftime, like we're going to Qatar, oh my god, I thought I was gonna die or kill someone, one or the other. And yeah, I was like, oh my god, I was so mad, and I was thinking of you guys, but my fingers were too cold to text anyone.
Yeah, I know Garrett Wheeler called it at the 44th minute that we were going to Qatar,
Yeah.
but I was at the stadium, so I only heard it after when I was watching the replays, and I was like,
Mm.
"Oh man, don't do that, please. We've been through too much to get that jinx on,
Mhm.
but happily it didn't." When I saw, yeah, I have to admit, the first 15-20 minutes of the second half was a bit all over the place. We were losing a lot of balls, but I just have the impression that maybe the players were starting to lose focus a bit, because they kind of knew what was coming, and I think
Mhm.
it's understandable. We shouldn't go too much into it. I don't think there's anything technical or tactical in there. It's just
No,
players, knowing that they're there, and now their concentration. Maybe you start thinking a bit about your family, the celebrations after everything that brought you here, and you try to
yeah.
focus on the game at the same time, man. So you'll make
Uh,
some mistakes.
I would add one thing though. I think that the Jamaican coach, adjusted himself by substituting three of his players,
Yeah.
and that player that had a hard time on Sam Adekugbe was
Oh,
replaced,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and that's when it was a bit harder for Canada. But what I liked about it is that John Herdman, and when I talk about tactical awareness, that's
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. John Herdman realized that something was not working on right now. And
It's pretty obvious.
what he did is that on the 63rd minute, 63rd minute, he did a triple change too. And with
Mhm.
Atiba coming in, Lucas Cavallini coming in, Alistair Johnston coming in, that's when John Herdman realized that I needed to shake things up. And when
Mhm.
he did that, it took maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes for the whole team to gel. But then we saw a team that really took back the possession of the
Oh
game,
yeah,
took back
Yeah.
control game. So
yeah.
again, we have to praise John Herdman for those moves. We have a surprise for you guys, for the people that are here. We have someone that just came and is joining us right now as a surprise, and we can't wait for you to
Uh,
talk to
uh, 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 uh,
about
uh.
about the Canadian national team. So let's bring him in. Hello,
Hey,
Chris.
Yes,
hey,
Tristan D'Amour, how are you, my friend?
we did it, guys.
Yes,
We
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 did.
did
did
it.
it.
We did it, man. We did it. We did it.
We freaking did it, man. Oh my god.
Hey,
I'm
thanks for
still
jumping in, man.
Yeah.
I thanks for having me. I'm sorry I'm dropping in kind of fashionably late. That wasn't my intention, but
No worries.
I'm in the process. I was in the process of writing something which you'll be able to read at a place that I find really cool. Can't say too much about it. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's like I don't know where you guys were because
Beginning of the second half. Beginning of the second half now.
okay.
Herdman's just made his triple sup.
Okay. So I have an anecdote for you once we get to like the
Yeah.
80th.
Okay,
So
we're not there
please
yet.
continue. Please continue.
We were talking about how much John Herdman evolved in his tactical awareness, and that he's become a lot better than what he was before. He's able to read tactical changes a lot more, a lot faster than he used to. And that's what's really interesting. And in that game, the 63rd minute, when he did that triple change, I think it changed the game. We took control of the game back that we lost for the first maybe 15 minutes of the second half. So that's exactly where we were. But Sam, do you agree with that or?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's a lot that can be said, but I think that as he's evolved, you said it yourself. It was tough at the start, right? It
Yeah,
was difficult, and you know, there's an anecdote. I guess I don't know if you heard it somewhere, but someone said that I can't. I have to quote him, but I forgot who said it. But that the first ever practice he made with the national team, there was a fight on the field and a fight in the dressing room. This dressing room was in shambles, and it was a mess, and he really built that up from scratch. And that there's a lot of credit that has to be given to him. But we're talking tactically a lot. What I want to say tactically too is, you know there's a big part of X's and O's, but there's a even bigger part of making sure that everyone accepts it and is ready to play in that type
Mhm.
of system. And I think he kind of mastered it really quickly.
Mhm.
So I always say, anyone can draw up tactics. You
yeah.
can draw up anything on a board, but the important part of it is, are the players going to listen to it, and are the players
Mhm.
going to go out and really stick to it, and live or die by it? And he went through that phase, and it's worked out. So yeah, of course I agree, man.
Good. You talked about the dressing room in shambles and everything. Eve, remember the blue cap?
Mm.
Yes, I recall the
Qatar
infamous
trilogy.
blue cap, but I'm not even
Just
sure.
saying.
I'm just trying to think, was Junior Hoylett like within the team then or not? I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, he was. He's the
Yeah,
one. Yeah, he
I
was.
I,
He was.
I wonder.
Yeah, and
But
and
let's not speculate, though. It's not nice to
yeah,
speculate about
but
who's
Scott Arfield
fist
did
fighting.
take his did retire internationally.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, just putting it out there.
So Tristan, hit us with your anecdote, man.
All right. So yesterday it was yesterday, right? Yeah, it was
It
yesterday.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah. It
was
was.
yesterday.
I barely slept. I know, man.
So yesterday I was sitting here actually. I was working on the Sportsnet web desk. And during the game, and like as the 75th minute rolls on, I mean, like for people who don't know what the desk is, it's mainly grabbing stories and rereading them and publishing them, and like, you know, making sure that every columnist gets all of the stories in and all that stuff. You know, nothing too crazy, but still. So I'm on the desk. We're working. We got the Slack thread going on, and at the 75th minute, I get asked by one of the senior editors, "Hey, I think you should probably be doing like a quick recap for just to get it out at the buzzer, just to, like, you know, beat everyone to the World Cup news and stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "You really, at the 75th minute, you tell me this?" Like,
You have 20 minutes to
I
just
got
get it
I
out
got
there.
15.
Oh no, there wasn't even injury time. You have
Yeah,
15.
true.
got-
That was
yeah,
an
I got
injury time.
15 minutes to write this. Okay. So I start writing this, and at the 80th, I look up at the screen and I just see just the wall of red, and I must have written like 75 words, which is like really not a lot when you think
No.
about it. But those were the toughest 75 words I've ever written in my entire life, guys.
No.
I cannot explain the feeling when that final whistle blew, and I had to publish a story, which is incredible. But it was, the whole last 5 minutes were an absolute blur, and like this. I mean, like, guys, I mean, we know, like, we've been in this.
Yeah.
We've been liking this team for so long, but
Yeah.
you know, this in the last 5-10 minutes, what I kept thinking was, like, for so long, I remember I went to school with in Saint Leonard and in the East End with a bunch of Italians who obviously had a very successful national team.
Yeah,
And like, for the longest time, we got ridiculed, we got laughed at for just liking the Canadian national team. Like, I kept thinking, like, finally we get to say, hey, we're there. We're
And
there
you're
with
not.
everyone else. I mean, like, you know, fair enough. I mean, even if they were there, like, that's
yeah,
not the
it'd be
yeah.
all
point. It's
good,
just
you know.
Yeah.
I know.
we're
I'm
there.
Just, yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
joke.
Like, not only is it like, and like, just this glory road that this Canadian national team with an S has been doing. You know, 2 back-to-back bronze medals. Then we go in and win a gold medal.
Yep.
And now the Canadian men, which were the laughingstock of the world,
Mm-hmm.
are qualifying for the World Cup without its best player. Like,
Yeah,
just how
yeah. Good
amazing
point.
is that?
Good point.
Like, can we stop for a second and say the last 5 games, the last 5 games, Alphonso Davies was watching those games on Twitch.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
my
it's
God, I
wild,
love
man.
his
How
Twitch
incredible is that?
Yeah, it's wild, man.
It's
No.
absolutely wild.
I'm
you
so
know-
excited. Patience has paid off.
But in these last moments that you were talking, Tristan, my thoughts were with I was just trying to figure how Atiba Hutchinson was feeling in these moments, and you know, he's been through hell and back with this team, and he's seen it all. It's been like, what, 20 years he's been with the
Yep.
national team, man. And at 39, he finally gets what he's always worked for. It's an amazing story. And you know, it must have been so overwhelming for him in these final stages. That's why I was talking, you know, of course they lost a few balls in midfield here and there in the second half. You know, there's so much going through your mind. You're not only focused on soccer at that moment. There's so many emotions that are going through you, but probably the most deserving by far player in this team, not saying that no one deserved it, but
Mm.
just through all he's been through, Atiba Hutchinson, he deserves like every ounce of joy he had yesterday was 100% deserved. That's amazing.
There's some really cool stories on this national team. Guys that, I mean, Atiba is one.
Mhm.
And like I wish I could tell you more. I mean, just keep tabs on what I'm gonna do in the next few days. But there's some
Okay.
stories of players that, like, if they had to play for their national team, it was a very costly decision.
Mm.
And then to see some guy, I mean, like, I think it's pretty obvious what I think about when I say that Mauro Biello is going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But you know, guys like Jason DeVos,
Mhm.
won Canada a Gold Cup
Yep.
in 2000,
2000.
and he's going to be there as an assistant
Played
coach.
for Montreal, eh, guys? For
Mhm.
anyone who didn't know, he was a Montreal
Yeah.
Impact player early in his
Yeah.
career. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there's so many great, like, there's some really deserved guys that are I mean, not everybody can go to the World Cup. At the end of the day, like, there's going to be a decision, but a lot of people are responsible for Canada going to the World Cup. A lot of guys that played in Montreal. I mean, like, you know, like Zach Broguiat wasn't there in Toronto, but he was part of the mix. James
He was there
Pantemis
in
was
El
part of the
Salvador.
mix. Yeah, exactly. A lot of players were in there at, you know,
Mhm.
credit to John Herman to personally ask for Piet, for Wotherspoon,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Davies. Davies couldn't be there, obviously, as he was on Twitch, as we could see. but to have Wotherspoon and Piet come over,
Really nice.
like, it just really highlights the culture change that happened with this squad. It's really nice to see. Like, it's cool to be a fan of the Canadian national, like that. Just that is incredible to me.
Yeah. But I'm still in Toronto, and I went to get a coffee this morning, and the guy behind me was like rocky. Had my Canada Soccer scarf on, and the guy behind me was wearing a Canada Soccer hoodie. And of course, I like stared at him, as I often do, because like I'm still not used to seeing people rock the crest, you know?
Yeah.
And so I said, "Did you go to the game?" And he did. And so we had a bonding session over our coffee while like my corpse was there waiting in line.
Yeah, but Hadi, this morning at the airport, you must have seen like 20 or 30 people. Well, I was walking, we took the same plane, but I arrived a bit before you. But everyone I was going through had something of Soccer Canada on him, a cap, a jersey, a scarf. Yeah, man, it's great.
Yeah. And it's nice. And when we were walking before the game in Toronto, my friend and I, we saw quite a few people, wearing Canada colors. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure that all of those people were at the PMO field. So, and it's nice. I was talking to the Uber driver going to the stadium, and we're like, there's a big game tonight. He's like, I don't really watch soccer, but everybody's talking about that game.
Oh, yeah.
And I
No,
was
I
like,
had
what? Like, that's a first. That's the first time that I hear that a Uber driver, a cab driver, or whatever tells me everybody's talking about a soccer game in Canada.
That's amazing.
It's the
Oh
first
no,
time.
even like I have one of my best friends lives here in Toronto, and she said, "Oh, I'm watching this afternoon," and she would never like just turn on a soccer game for fun. And I have people I haven't talked to in a few years even messaged me to be like, "Oh my gosh, it's happening!" I couldn't believe that they were paying attention.
Oh, yeah, man. It most certainly was. Guys, just before we move on from the national team, I want to hear you guys on the post-game celebrations. How did you see that? Tristan, you were watching it on TV, right?
Yeah. I was watching
did they show the
on
full
One Soccer.
Yeah, did they show the full celebration on TV?
Well, for as long as I remember, I mean, like, they were, they had KJ kind of doing the one-on-ones, which, one of the most memorable moments for me from the One Soccer broadcast was KJ and John Herdman and
yeah.
Milan Borjan came over and just splashed
Oh my-
everyone. The camera was full of champagne, everything.
Yeah.
And then after that, he goes, this is such an incredible moment. Everything I've went through for this team. And he goes, I knocked on doors for money for this team.
Oh my
And this
god.
just goes to show how far this has been going. Like, we're talking about a Canada Soccer. Like, this isn't even US soccer. This isn't like, for them to go from where they were, the stagnant, and like, all due respect to all the former players, because I think they really paved the way, because they had it really tough.
For sure.
But in terms of the management and everything, the fact that they're going to qualify and they're going to do back-to-back World Cups, the recognition, the money coming in, like, they better they better go ahead and really work it hard, because like, the opportunity, the window is just fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree, and I like the also from Canada Soccer. They did talk about some of the legends of Canada Soccer. So that's really nice. They presented Dwayne De Rosario and other players. Of course, I'm not going to name them all. I think 5 or 6. I was a bit surprised that Patrice Bernier wasn't
because he was on
Well, he was
yeah, he was on
soccer. Yeah, he was busy.
but still, it would have been nice for him to
I'm
get
sure
a
it would
nod
have
also.
been if he had.
I think he did hop on the field right at the right when the whistle blew. So I guess they needed him.
It was amazing, man. It was great, and I was really moved by Craig Forrest's interview. Like, he cracked up right at the start, and he spoke with his heart from A to Z. It was great to hear, and that's what I like is, in the past you've seen a lot of players not show full commitment to the national team. Some players were always injured when it was time to be called up. Some players had dual nationalities and they went the other side, but you saw that some players had it so close to their heart and never were able to fulfill what this group did yesterday, but are still living it like if they were they just qualified. Craig Forrest, he qualified for the World Cup. He was talking like he qualified. It's awesome. So yeah, man, it's just bringing everyone together. It's an amazing moment for soccer, and like you guys say, man, I really hope that every province, every local club, every entity that has a word to say on soccer in Canada jumps on the movement and really gives it all in, because it's a great moment right now. So guys.
Completely agree. I'm gonna say goodbye though.
Yeah,
On this
see you,
note.
Yves. Thank you so much for passing
Thank you
by.
for being here, Yves, and see you next week.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Travels,
Enjoy the rest of your chat.
All right.
Alrighty, bye guys.
Bye. So, guys, anything to add on the national team?
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Yves is not here, so I can be optimistic.
I don't know if it's the Kool-Aid, but damn, does that Kool-Aid taste great.
Oh
yeah. It's beautiful, and it's something, the one is just like, do not take this for granted. Like, this is a team that worked very hard and still will work hard. I have zero doubt in my mind that they will not rest on their laurels. They might be a tad hungover in Panama. I'm a little scared about that. I'm a little scared about that, but like, I hope Drake paid that tab, by the way. I don't know if you saw Rashford Daddy's tweet.
I saw that. But I just hope also that John Herdman is going to use, because you're able to call up some people, some players, for the last game. So maybe he'll use that and call up. We saw that in the last window where he called up Zachary Boguillard. So maybe he can do that too if he sees that there are players that are really not in shape to play that game, because maybe they partied too hard or they're just really tired for playing that game to those 2 games at 100%. So I hope we'll see that, and he'll use that in case he has to. It would be interesting to see who he will call up. That's something else for sure. But yeah, that's a possibility. Like let's not forget that before Panama, that can happen.
Yeah.
Because Panama, like, this is still a must-win for Panama. So this is definitely going to be an interesting game, and to play against a team that really wants to win. Like, this is not. So I highly doubt that they're going to take the pedal off the gas, because that's just not how John Herdman rolls. It'll be interesting to see, because this is the first time where he, no one would hold that against him. No one would hold that against the Canadian national team. Frankly, we have a Mark Anthony Kaye that's fresh and probably wants to kind of pay up his debt from that very dumb thing he did. Even though whatever CONCACAF faking, whatever, it's
no, he shouldn't have done that.
I'm pretty sure you've already spoken about that. So yeah. But yeah, so it'll be very interesting. I expect a team to at least give Panama a run for its money. I expect nothing less.
Yeah, maybe a lot. There are players that didn't feature much. I can just think of Ike Ugbo, who didn't play at all in this window. I'm sure he's gonna get a lot of minutes, and there's players at these positions. Liam Fraser might get a start, so I'm sure there's going to be rotation and hungry players to show points. So yeah, Addy, we have two almost identical questions. That's interesting. Roberto Tiranardi, hi Roberto. So now that we have qualified, how far do we go in the World Cup, assuming no group of death? Well,
it's impossible to answer that question without a draw.
Next week we'll answer it.
Next week we'll answer it for sure. We will talk a bit about it in social media, so you'll see a bit, Roberto. But I just wanted to show that question. But yeah, it's something that we're thinking about. We're just gonna, I think, dig into it a lot more next week once we know the draw for sure.
By the way, did you guys do that World Cup draw simulator?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
My first try. Would you like to know what the group was?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah.
Argentina, Germany, Canada, Ghana.
Oh wow!
Like, that is a proper group of them.
Oh,
Listen, Tristan. Show. Had he put up NHL P5000? No, the other one. Yeah. So right before you said that, Tristan, NHL P5000 says right now we're in pot 4, so high chance of group of death. You nailed it, Tristan. That's a crazy group, man.
Look, there's one thing. Now I'll shout out my friend Alex Perez, who used to be a soccer writer. He's now kind of in the news world, but I want to see Canada play against the top teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like
one or two, not three.
I would. I mean, look, like, this is okay. Fair enough. Like, I get it, but like, this team is just not scared.
Yeah.
They're not scared at all. So it would be, obviously we're going to play against teams or nations, I should say. We're going to play against nations that are better. Of course, how many nations in the FIFA rankings are below Canada that qualify for the World Cup right now? Not much.
Not much.
No. But you know what? This is where Canada wants to be. It can only go up from there, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, so this is where they're at the World Cup now. I hope that now there's friendlies. I hope that there's some sort of friendly organized against some sort of European or South American nation. Like, the recognition is there. Now it's what you do with it. If you are in the group of death and you end up playing 3 really good games and give the best teams their run for their money, of course you're out, but the recognition is there.
No, it's gonna be good, man. Because obviously, I don't expect us to make a semifinal, even though it would be a dream come true. But so in another scenario, to see us go against these big dogs, and I'm sure give a legit fight, man, it's gonna be something to talk about.
There's one certainty in my mind, is that we're not gonna do like 86. There's gonna be goals.
Yeah, sure.
Like
Sure.
they're coming in to fucking play, guys. I'm sorry, I swore, but
No,
they're coming
Eve
in
is
to
gone.
play.
We can swear now.
Yeah, and Eve's mom, I don't think she will listen to the part where Eve is not here, so you're okay.
Well,
you
just
never
just
know,
in
man. Be
case,
careful.
I apologize, Eve. I'm sorry.
but you know what? It's very different, right? In '86, we barely made the World Cup, right? Like it was kind of a surprise for Canada to qualify for the World Cup. This year, we're forced to be reckoned with, right? We're first in the Ocho. We're first. It's as simple as that. We're
Look,
in
we're
first
first,
position.
and we weren't even like a seeded team.
No,
like,
No,
we had to
man.
qualify.
anything.
Like
We had to
we
play
weren't anything.
Curacao and these clubs to even get there.
17 games, man.
Yeah,
17
incredible.
games. I think 18 now, 19 with Panama's game or whatever. Like, it's
I don't think I've read a
unbelievable.
column about that, but I'd almost argue that this helped Canada.
Yeah, it did.
I think it did, man.
Really,
I think it
really
did.
built up that
Yep.
brotherhood.
Yeah,
that
exactly. I was
culture
gonna say the
mentality.
brotherhood.
I think it did, man. I think it did. So either, in these situations, you can see it two ways. You have to play all these preliminary games before the Ocho. You can be, kind of pissed off of it, or you can kind of thrive and embrace it and say, we'll do something good about it. And clearly they took the second option. That's why they arrived. I think that's a big reason why they arrived in the octagon this solid and this motivated, and especially this in tune with themselves. That from the first game they knew where they were going, they knew what they were doing, and it showed, man. It showed that there was some work, some preparation, and some experience together that kind of happened there, right? So yeah, I'm sure. Tristan, you have a column to write, man. Think about that one. It's interesting, man.
It's done, my guy. I haven't sent it yet, but it's done.
There you go.
I mean, it's not a column, okay? I'll just tease it. It's what does it mean for Canadians?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And think about what I spoke about for the most part of my time on this podcast.
Interesting.
So, and like some of the tweets that I wrote in the last few minutes, the last few hours of just who this is for. We were laughed at, and now we're at the World Cup, and it took a lot of people to get there. So, that's kind of the and like a lot of people outside Canada might see this. So
okay, I got an anecdote, but guys, it's not it's really about the man. Don't care about me in that anecdote. But when I was in Sport Études, Soccer Concordia, I did Sport Études from Sec 1 to Sec 5. Mauro Biello was a drill coach on the Fridays. That's he and now he's going to the World Cup, man.
Oh, wow.
He came to make us like passing shooting drills on Fridays only. And now he's going to the World Cup. Just imagine that.
Dude, I'm going to tell you even more. We had
Man,
Kamal Miller on this show here. He's going to the World Cup.
Yeah. For the trivia folks, 2 players on CF Montreal were on the field when they qualified. Alistair Johnson and Kamal Miller.
Yeah.
And this is really cool. Like this, like a 19-year-old Ismail Kone was sitting on the bench on the day they qualified.
No, man, it's crazy.
Like
that's gonna be that's really
where
amazing.
is this kid gonna be in 5 years? Ooh. And like like this is a moment that shapes his career, being like, okay, I got a lot of years ahead of me, and if I play this well, I could be in 3 World Cups, 4 World Cups.
Well, yeah, you got models in this team, and it's just extra motivation to see that there's all of this ahead, and it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you going. So that's, man.
Because one of my favorite words is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what we're trying to achieve here, right? On the women's side, we're competitive. I think I wasn't on Bev Priestman's media availability today, but like I think everyone wants to kind of push each other and go farther and farther. Because, guys, if you're soccer fans, we got 2 World Cups in the span of 6 months. Or maybe a little more than 6 months. In less than a year, we'll have Canada 2 World Cups. Qatar 2022, Australia, New Zealand 2023, sorry. Like, guys, it's gonna roll. It's gonna roll real fast. Like, I hope you guys are prepared, because it's gonna be real fun. It's gonna be real fun.
Guys, we could go on for hours about the national team, but we have to move on, guys, to Montreal. You ready? Because
we are.
There was some huge news today, and finally, everyone kind of knew it, but it's official now. Gabriel Gervais has been named president, and long last, because they hadn't replaced Kevin Gilmore yet with the official title of president. So just to give a little profile of Gabriel Gervais real quick, he's an ex-Impact player, played 150 times for the team, 11 times for the national team. He was named 3 times USL Defender of the Year, and he's on the Immortals board at Stade Saputo. For me, Gabriel Gervais was a very elegant, polished center back, and I often said here, and we kind of talked about it too, Eddie, that prime Gabriel Gervais would have made the MLS if they had transitioned in these years, in my opinion, 100%. Outside of soccer, Gervais has a pretty interesting CV. Until very recently, was working for Deloitte in Montreal, has a bachelor's degrees in mechanical engineering, a master's in engineering management, as well as an MBA with a focus on finance. He is fluent in French, English, and Spanish. From what I've seen so far, a very popular choice, guys. Is he a popular choice for you?
I just want to say first, I want to congratulate Milton for being the first one to come out with the news, and that's very very good work from his part, Milton from the CanMNT. So just congrats on breaking out the news. I think a couple of months ago already. Second of all, on paper, he seems like a very good choice. First of all, he seems like a very good choice. Looking at the situation that the club is at right now. Okay, so first of all, you're kind of bringing back the past a bit. Something that the fans were complaining about, saying that we with the rebrand and everything, that the past was kind of erased, and now you're bringing back the past, which is kind of a good thing, I think, for those reluctant fans that really left the boat. That's the first thing. A second thing, on paper again, you look at what he represents as a player, but also what he the assets that he brings, being able to speak the 3 languages, being someone that has a financial background, being someone that worked at Deloitte, which is nobody needs to. I don't think you need me to tell you what Deloitte is, right? So on paper, again, he seems like the great guy. The thing where I'm not really so sure about, and I can't wait to see the presser tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to attend, unfortunately, at Centre Mitrele. It's kind of impossible for me to miss work tomorrow. But I think what's very important for a president is the communication skills. If he doesn't have communication skills, it's going to be a very big problem, because you might be the best guy financially and the one that has contacts, and they can talk to in 7 or 10 different languages. If you don't know how to communicate, how to pass a message, how to motivate, how to sometimes yell, or sometimes you need to be able to control people with your communication skills. So that's where I'm not really convinced yet, because I don't know him as a communicator, right? So let's wait and see. But I'm kind of happy that we're done with the whole president search thing, because I think that it dragged on a bit. So I'm happy that we're done from that, and I can't wait to see Gervais, take his place and see what he does.
Yeah, the silence was deafening with this president search. Really was. So I'm glad that um, that it's over, in the sense that I think the club can move forward now. I think that the we'll see. I believe the vision will probably be clearer by this time tomorrow. So this will be interesting. I like the hire. Can't I can't talk for Gabriel Gervais' financial ability. Like, we saw the resume that he has, but I can't really speak for much more about that. But it'll be interesting, I think, if there's someone that was already at the club that has that experience of knowing the team and its needs. And if that same person can also have the financial background, the background to help this team in an administration side move forward, I think that's great. So to have both of those, I think is, as close as a perfect match as you're going to want. So that's encouraging. One thing I'm very interested to know is Joe Saputo is going to be there tomorrow. Where is he going to be? And just, is his involvement going forward going to be a little more present? So that'll be interesting, because he's still the owner. Like, he could still very much decide to come back and be more involved. Hate to bring the hockey perspective, but we have a team on the other side of the city that has kind of this two-person management. So is it a thing where Gabriel Gervais comes in and, as a club president, very much is in his first experience doing that, whereas Joey Saputo was the president for a while. So is this more of a, like, we're going to collaborate with that? It'll be interesting to see if that kind of happens, or if it's just Gabriel is going to be doing the whole thing. And thirdly, we're not going to know this on the short term, but I'm really interested to see in the long run what he brings to the club, because this is a new era. This is the Gabriel Gervais era. We saw what the Kevin Gilmore era brought. You could really, you guys made a great show about that, actually, like listing everything that he did and all that stuff. And like, maybe in 5 years we could do another show about that very specific thing, because there's still decisions that there's decisions that a president makes that have lasting effects.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Gilmore was in the decision process to get Olivier Renard in. And like, so decisions that he does still has ripple effects on the era that he brought. So what is Gabriel Gervais going to bring when he decides to do decisions, when he brings up the things that he wants to bring? So it'll be very interesting to kind of monitor that going forward in the short-term decision this season, going into the off season, and going forward in the next few.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a change of approach, right? You went from someone who had a background in sports management ish with Kevin Gilmore. Now you're going more for a local flavor with Gabriel Gervais. And I mean, I find it really interesting that you bring a player that knew the pre-MLS era, because I remember Claude Robillard and these rivalries with Rochester and Charleston and all of that, and it kind of molded the club into what it is right now. So when Gabriel Gervais is gonna say, I understand the market, he's not lying. He's not just throwing words out there. And I think it's important. We Eddie, yeah, I know you're not sure. I know, but remember what our friend Paul Vance used to say about Kevin Gilmore? Say he doesn't understand the game. Managing football is completely different of managing any other sport, and I kind of agree with him, man.
I completely agree with what Paul said, but again, everything that you're saying to back Gabriel Gervais' nomination, we could say exactly the same thing for Adam Brass. And
But
we
he
all
wasn't team
know,
president.
yeah, but still, he what I
He had a
understand.
big role, yeah,
but
for sure. He had a big
would
role,
you
but
accept Adam Brass as a president? No,
well, no.
he
Listen,
doesn't
But he,
Sam,
have the
the reason
communication
they
why
don't have
he
the
skills.
same
wouldn't,
background, Hattie. They don't have the same background.
yeah,
Kind of. What he's
no,
mean.
but listen,
He
Adam
did
Brass,
a lot.
Adam Brass doesn't have the scholar CV of Gabriel Gervais, man.
Oh,
That comes to play, and that comes into play, I think, because the
I think he had also an MBA Adam Brass.
yeah, but there's experience in there too, man.
Afterwards,
There's
but he did have
experience.
experience. He went. I'm looking at. I'm trying to find his CV somewhere, but I know he did have an MBA if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, I kind of agree. Yeah, he had an MBA, I think, in business. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. For me, I just want to see the communication skills.
No, you're right,
Gabriel
Hattie.
Gervais. That's
You're right.
all.
He has a business. He went to St. John's and Fairfield University for business.
Exactly.
So you are correct. I'll give you that.
Thank you. So
I
now
know that,
again,
man.
he's not. He doesn't have. I understand what you're saying. Gabriel Gervais was in Deloitte. I completely
that's
understand.
kind of
It's
what I
something
was trying
else.
to say,
I
yeah.
understand, but still, it's. I just want to reserve my judgment before really backing this at
Yeah,
100%.
I understand.
Because when Kevin Gilmore was named, we were very ecstatic at first.
Yeah, it was positive. Yeah.
It
Because
was
he had
positive,
experience with in the
his
NHL in the West with
his
Montreal.
communication was
Yeah.
awesome. Now every box that Kevin Gilmore did not tick before, Gabriel Gervais does tick them. The thing is, does he tick the same boxes that Kevin Gilmore ticked before? And that's the problem. You need the guy that's exactly Kevin Gilmore plus Adam Brass. You need both. Like, if you can find a guy that can do both their jobs, then you have a perfect president.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gervais is the one yet.
We'll see, man. We can't answer this right now. I think it's gonna be on the long term, especially for a job like president. It's such a long-winded work to get your projects going that we won't be able to evaluate his work in 6 months, in a year or 2 years. Obviously, what happened with Gilmore is that there was so big changes during his tenure that you kind of were able to react to them. But if it's smooth changes along the way with Gabriel Gervais, it's gonna be maybe 4, 5, 6 years that we'll be able to talk it out. But I want to ask you guys, what are the first things that Gabriel Gervais will have to do once he gets started? Like, when he's in his office, he has the keys, you're the boss, now get it going. What are the first things that he'll have to get moving?
It depends, because that's a touchy subject
Yes,
for a
it
lot
is,
of
I know.
people. There's obviously the supporter relations. I think
Yes.
I'll that's a big one. One of my big ones personally, and look, supporter relations, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I don't think this is another thing that'll I feel like people are probably going to ask about that and like the club image and whatnot. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't expect necessarily a big change on that front. But for me, I think one of the biggest ones is how to improve Stade Saputo. You can't have a team that pictures itself as a team that's embracing the North and being, the Canadian national team has been able to play in winter conditions, and you can't. That's a big problem for me. Yeah. And that's why, in the rebrand announcement, that was my question to Kevin Gilmore.
Yeah.
So your team is now branded with a snowflake on it and saying, bring it on. You can't play in winter conditions. What are you going to do? And he was talking about, renovations coming, and they clearly haven't come yet. So
Yeah, but
I think this is going to be a big part of his presidency.
They did do a whole survey for fans to like about 30 questions for fans to answer in order to start the work. So I think there's already something in place that's coming for the Stade Saputo. But you make a great point, Tristan. I think it's gonna be one of the focal points of Gervais' presidency. But there's, I think, two other focal points that we need to add on that. First of all, create the buzz again. And to create the buzz, we talked about supporters' relations. I think it's a bit more than that. I think that we need to, yeah, of course, bring back the people that really left the boat. That's going to be very important. Not especially by doing another rebrand. I don't think it's the way to go. But maybe to find some sort of common ground with some people and just bring most of them back. Maybe not all of them, because not everybody will be convinced by such a thing. And the third thing, and that's going to be massive. What are you going to do with your team? Like, Olivier Renard contracts ends at the end of the year.
These are big points, man.
And that's going to be on Gabriel Gervais to decide if he signs him back or not.
Adi Raphael.
Yes, my friend.
I remember, what is it? Has it been 6 months ago?
Yeah.
We had a choices segment.
Yeah.
And that choices segment went, you can only keep Wilfred Nancy or Olivier Renard.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Do you remember what you responded?
I don't remember, but I kind of think that I'm still on this. Like, I think that my answer right now will be the same as it was before.
You answered, my friend, Wilfred Nancy.
Yeah, and I agree with that statement. 100%.
Okay, I'm just
100%.
testing the waters.
100%. I'm still exactly. I still have exactly the same
man of his word, man.
Opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still saying that, obviously, I mean, I'm obviously, having fun with you, but yes,
of course, please,
it's definitely,
go ahead.
So it's still a priority to you.
No, I'm saying that he's going to have to take a decision.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
He's going to have to take a decision. Does he sign him back or does he bring someone else? And if he brings someone else, who does he bring?
Yeah, and what's Wilfred Nancy's status with this other person too? That's gonna be interesting too, because for sure now you have that bigger decision maker, if you want, over the footballing world. That would be Gabriel Gervais. So, but that's a good question. NHLP 5000 Seb, he says, is Renard the man of Gervais? I really think that when you go into these interviews, these questions come up. I'm sure that Joey Saputo and Gabriel Gervais had these conversations, and probably the rebrand too came out in these conversations, and just to see where Gervais and the other candidates are at. And because we had a question too from Simple Guy. He says, Gervais, what about the elephant in the room? What's he gonna say about the rebranding? These are it's tough for us to answer these questions because, we didn't even have the first press conference. But for sure, if I'm a journalist tomorrow, I'm asking a question about the rebrand. Sure. And I'm asking a question about Olivier Renard 100%, man.
For sure.
100%. And I hope Gabriel Gervais has his answers ready.
Yeah, but he's not. He's just going to say, just let me just start, getting my shit.
He doesn't have a lot of time, man, to get his shit together. Yeah, that's the thing. Still, it's going fast, man.
He's not going to give you an answer tomorrow.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you can ask him the question. He's going to give you
a generic answer.
A generic answer, and that's it. Because give him just a couple of months, man. Like to maybe learn what Olivier Renard is doing, see his vision for the remaining few months of his contract, and his vision for the next 3 years. Because if he's going to give an extension for Olivier Renard, he will not give an extension for 1 year. He's going to give him at least 2 or 3 years to complete his vision. in the next step of his vision, right? So
look, I'm not expecting, again, like you, I'm not expecting any harsh, big statements.
Yeah.
I hope that, I mean, I'm still a game time decision for this press conference. To be honest, I'm not sure I'll be even covering this. So, but I definitely will be paying attention, because this, like, there's il y a des chantiers, like there's areas to build up,
of
to
course,
build upon,
of course,
and like,
there's a lot to do.
frankly, of course his opinion, like, of course a lot of people will want to know his opinion on the rebrand, especially coming from a position where, I mean, he was one of the bigger players on the former era of this team, and I'm not talking about Impact era, I'm talking about, when they weren't in MLS, when the real ones were watching
USL,
like A-League, USL, USSF Division 2. Like, this is, you had to be there to, anyway. So, and like, no disrespect to anyone who came in later, because, that's just how teams go. Like, other people come in and are part of the ecosystem, and that's awesome. But I expect, I mean, Gabriel Gervais, from what I remember of him as a player, was always a very classy guy.
Elegant.
Yeah. He was elegant. So I'm expecting someone to come in with a certain calm, that if you're asking me to, like, predict something, I'm expecting a reassuring presence, which is probably needed at this team, because there's been a lot of very stressful, there's been some breaks, some tension, like, having a calming presence, a piece of porcelain at the top of this club, it cannot hurt, and I think it would be a shame to see, like, look, if we're in the predictions of what could happen in the future and whatnot, like, it would be a shame to see Olivier Renard, like, leave after a new president came in, because I think the what he brought to the team is only going to be better as it ages. It's like fine wine, like they're building stuff for the next 4 or 5 years. So it would make sense to, if you're not going to keep him, at least keep the aura. So I would probably resign him, because it would make sense. Like, a lot of young players coming in, investment in what they're doing. Like, they buy young players, they're coming in, and they could potentially move out, because, as we know, and I think Paul said it best, like, there's, apart from Manchester City and United and all of those, the bigger teams, everyone's a feeder club.
Yeah.
Like, it's the gigantic pyramid of world football. So, like, it just fits in the world of soccer to have a team that buys low, sells high, and tries to make a living out of that, and not, so it fits with the aura of the club. I think it just works well. So it would be weird to all of a sudden come in and say, we're flipping everything. The only reason I would think there could be a flip is when he was playing for the Impact and Joe Saputo in D2 was a team that whenever they had any glimpse of a good player, they would buy them. Like, Evan Bush's story is exactly that. He played for Crystal Palace Baltimore. I was at that game, and I kept saying, like, dude, this guy is sick. He is killing the Impact today. It's incredible. And lo and behold, Nick DeSantis was at the door of his bus with, like, his card, and be like, yeah, call us. We want you. And then the story of Evan Bush happened. Like, isn't that amazing? So this is my one kind of like, the little thing at the back of my head that's like, oh, maybe. But at the end of the day, I like what the club is going forward. If you massively change it, it wouldn't make much sense, would it?
I'm not sure. I think we need like, in order to play that role, and that feeder club role, and to promote those players that you discover left and right, either in lower divisions or anywhere across the world, or Torkelsons and those kind of guys. You still need veteran players that have experience and have talent. And if you don't have those, your team is not going anywhere. And right now, we have too few of them. We need more quality in that squad. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. We need more quality in that squad for those young players or those unknown players to learn from. And right now, we're lacking those quality players. It's as simple as that.
But Heidi, this isn't a president's mandate.
It's a president's mandate to choose the right sporting director that's going to be able to see that.
I think that the president has a role of really setting the identity of the club, not only sportingly, like the whole identity that even transcends the people who cook for the players, the people who the physios, that everyone has to be in the same boat and feed through that identity. So I think it is a bit of the job of a president. Now, Olivier Renard was hired clearly in the idea of doing something. I doubt if Gabriel Gervais has a much different opinion, and there's that kind of line of thought that Olivier Renard goes and find obscure players here and there across the world and hopes to maybe be able to resell them. But if you look at his transfers, yes, he went for Sunusi, for Torres, for youngsters, but he went for some established players too. Look at Romel Kyoto. Look at Victor Wanyama. I think he's able to balance it out, and if he needs to adjust just a little bit of how he approaches transfer windows, he'll be able to. I think he's able to do it. So to go back a bit to what you guys were saying, I think Olivier Renard should be continuing the project with Montreal. I don't see why you wouldn't. That's the.
I go back to what I said maybe at the beginning of the season, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes ago. For me, this year is going to be the turning point for Olivier Renard. This year is the third year of Olivier Renard. This year we have to see an improvement. We saw an improvement from year 1 to year 2, from year 1 with Thierry Henry to year 2 with Wilfried Nancy. We saw that improvement. This year, we need to see another improvement. We need the team to get at least in a playoff spot. And if we're not in a playoff spot, I don't see how we're going to be able to see Olivier Renard for the future. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Results are important sometimes.
Because we took that kind of, direction that you have a kind of a general manager over a coaching staff and stuff. As it usually goes, the first person that's sacrificed in these moments are the coach. So maybe that's gonna happen. I don't. The thing.
Not in this case. I'm sorry.
I would be really surprised if Renard is just they just let Renard's contract finish. And they say, we'll find someone else because it's going to act as a firing. We just don't offer you another contract. And Wilfried Nancy just stays put. It would be a bit odd for me, man.
But don't you see that Wilfried Nancy has been trying everything he can with the players that he has between
Hadi.
He's doing everything he can. And his narrative,
that discussion.
In his narrative, every presser is, these are the players that I have. So, at the end of the day, yes, maybe you can change tactically and everything, but think about it. Who's the biggest earner between those two?
Oh, I'd say I don't know for sure.
Okay, how much does it cost to re-sign Olivier Renard versus how much it costs to just offload Wilfried Nancy? Like, Wilfried Nancy is not. Wilfried Nancy is not a high risk choice to keep him. Olivier Renard, it is a high risk choice to sign him back. And I think that's where, if it's not working,
I don't know, man. I think a lot of it, to me, a lot of it has to do with squad depth. I think the poor start has to do with just a lot of the same players are on the pitch. Like, I get that there's a lot of new. There's a lot of there's the back line is much better than I thought it was going to be at the start of the season, or at the start of the off season, I should say. I wasn't even though I think we should. We never talked about how I kind of called that Alistair Johnson trade, and I had no idea it was going to happen. By the way,
you did, and I think all of us, all the three of us, we said that we would take Alistair Johnston. I think. No?
Yeah, but you were trading Mason Toyer when we were doing.
Oh yeah, so
my trade was better.
No, man.
It was better for Nashville.
It was better for Nashville.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I meant. But I think a lot of it has to do with squad depth. So maybe this is the point where, like, look, if you want to be a big team, if you want to be a team that competes with the best in the nation or the best in the region, I think we're at a point where, okay, these are the rules to the game, and the game is continental competition starts at the start of the season. There's no way around it. This is the way you gotta play if you want to be the best in the nation. If you want to be the best in the confederation. Stop complaining and make sure that you already got that depth going forward.
Yeah, man.
Because, like, now it's been 3 years, and I'll give Renard the fact that, okay, maybe he didn't really get a thorough sense of what it meant for to get to the Champions League in the first year because COVID and everything happened and blah de blah. Okay, you learned it now. Clearly, I really like the aspect that Kone and Zouya are integral parts of this team. They have to play. That's awesome. For me, if it wasn't for Olivier Renard, not sure Ismaël Kone is on the national team right now.
I agree.
True.
So there's some good steps, but now, what do we want to be, right? So if you want to be a team that competes in all the competitions, you have to make sure that you got the squad depth from the get-go. And I understand, like, they ran through some bad luck. Mason Toy got injured in a really bad timing.
Yeah.
Sam Piet got injured, really bad timing. If those elements are still active and healthy, we got a different season on our hands right now. But you got to make sure that you're not in a situation where the same players are playing 3 games in the same week. Like this, we're talking about a team that has to compete against teams with twice the budget.
Right.
Like, you have to make sure at least another body's in there that can compete.
But think about it. Hamdi is injured also. Like, you have so many injuries, right? I think we have depth. We just don't have quality. There's the problem. You do have depth. Every position, you have a lot of players playing every position, except the wing backs position.
Let me ask you this then. Do you like the acquisitions that he's done? So
no.
If you're saying no. You probably don't like Torres, do you?
No. For me, Torres is a rotation player. He's not a starter.
Good squad player.
Do you like Lassie?
No, not at all. For me, he doesn't deserve a contract extension at all.
Okay, that's a fair point. I still think that Lassie is a work in progress, especially because he's playing a different position now, and he has to kind of learn. He has to relearn pretty much everything. And I think that in the long run, specifically for Lassie, the fact that he went to the Euros and that he knows what it is if he wants to be a part of a team that goes to the Euros, to the World Cup, and wants to be a team, an integral part of his national team. He saw Timu Puki. He saw Glenn Kamara. He saw the guys that are consistently in Europe doing work.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's asked he's been given a challenge to flip positions because this is how he's going to be successful on his team. I think that's going to take a while. But I haven't completely abandoned on Lassie, but I understand why you would think that. I understand why you would think that those aren't necessarily the best acquisitions. A lot of it are because, like, like Joaquin Torres, like, what was he doing really before? Like they're not bringing in established players. Like they're not bringing in Glenn Kamara.
Yeah.
Like they're not bringing in players that like have been doing it. So that's obviously going to. Are you shooting yourself in the foot? Are you planning for the future?
I don't know. All I know right now is that this team clearly needs more players, more talented players, and at wingback's position. If you get a good left wing back, you're a different team. If you get a starter left wing back, someone that can do the job every game, you're in a completely different position. Everybody's talking about the striker. I don't think the striker is the problem. It's the left wing back that's a problem right now. That's the biggest weakness that we have right now is the left wing back position. Everything comes from the right position. Everything comes from there. All the danger comes from there. You can play Chouanière, who has a different role than Zachary Bogia, but on the left, you have nothing to do. There's nothing to do. If you're the opponent, you have nothing to do. So I don't know. We'll see what Gervais is gonna do.
Yeah. That's the whole discussion.
That's the whole discussion, right?
I don't think this pertains to Gabriel Gervais.
Because he's the one that's going to choose if Renard stays or not. And right now, and that's the whole discussion, right now, the contract of Renard is running, is about to end. Does he re-sign him or not?
And to that point, wouldn't you guys agree that this summer is going to be really important?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like every summer.
Yeah.
No. But specifically for Olivier Renard, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go out, the summer probably is the better time to do so.
Yeah, and there's more players available too, because if you want to look a bit in Europe, most contracts finish in the summer, and that's.
But what I mean is, if the decision to not be the sporting director in Montreal anymore is,
okay,
do you look at trying to leave before your contract ends?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, possibly,
yeah.
and that's what Chan is saying. By letting Renard contract run out, we may get a Marc Bergevin situation.
Renard my God, that's not a bad point.
No,
yeah. Renard will become very unsettled. So yeah, he might leave in the summer window. You're completely right. But for the sporting director, he can leave anytime. He doesn't need to wait for the summer window, right?
No, but he's still tied on a contract. For sure.
But the other team will pay a fee to Montreal, and it's not going to be a big fee because it's only 5-6 months left, right? So.
It's going to be really interesting. So that's why.
How much of that money are we going to be able to turn into GAM?
Yeah,
zero.
That's the thing. But man, I mean, tomorrow. Did they say what time was the press
10:30, I believe.
10:30 in the morning. Okay. Yeah.
So 10:30 tomorrow on Tuesday. It's going to be a very, very big press conference in the history of the club, guys, because it's he's only the second official president not named Joey Saputo.
No, it's gonna be very interesting. I'm really pissed off that I can't be there, but like I can't miss work tomorrow, unfortunately. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be cool, man. It's gonna be really, really interesting, guys. I just want anything to add, guys, on
No, I think we talked a lot about that point. And
bring those blue Puma jerseys, man. Bring them
awesome.
back.
Oh yeah,
just the style. It doesn't have to be Puma.
No, they're nice. Man, yeah. Guys, we're gonna preview really, really quickly our game against Cincinnati on Saturday. Cincinnati are sitting 9th in the Eastern Conference on 6 points with a 2-3 defeats record. Kind of a positive start for them, knowing their history since they've been in the league. I just want to hear you guys, like, in a minute or two, in a nutshell, what does Montreal need to do to get back to winning ways? I'll start with you, Hedy.
Score goals.
How, man? That's the
They need to
question.
score goals. No, but like I think they still need again. Last week, what I said was I think Montreal is improving on the pitch. The results are not there yet, but we've seen a team that is improving on the pitch. I think they've been a bit unlucky not scoring goals. They need to continue on that same with that same motivation, and at a moment they're going to start winning games. We just have to be a bit more patient because we're creating a lot more chances than the opposition. We saw it in the Champions League game against Cruz Azul. We saw it also. Not what's the other game also where we saw where we
Atlanta.
Atlanta. I think we were the better team, right?
Yeah.
So we just need to be better at just creating at finishing those chances because creating chances is being done and it's being done beautifully. The thing is we need to finish them. That's the thing that we need to do. We just need to trust in the process and continue on learning what Wilfried Nancy wants to set up.
Cool. Tristan.
It's going to be really tough.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
this might be another loss. Yeah, you can't make mistakes in your own half now with I'm forgetting his name, but the midfielder
Brenner.
that they got no, not Brennan, the guy that used to be in DC.
Lucho Acosta.
Yeah, Lucho
Oh,
Acosta is going to make you pay. I was covering the game they played against Miami and or against them. I mean, I was covering the last two games actually that they played against Miami and against DC. Against DC, this was classic Cincy luck or of losing that game because Lucho Acosta was everywhere. He was everywhere, and they ended up losing on a fluke penalty in like the final minutes, and then they ended up winning the last two. And then I believe they played this weekend, and I honestly
they lost in Charlotte 2-0.
Okay, they lost in Charlotte, but they were on a 2-game winning streak, and the game before that they lost to DC, and I don't hate this team. I think they're coming from really far back, and they finally got someone in Pat Noonan that I believe is going to change their setup. They tried to get the whole Philadelphia coaching staff. They couldn't, so they got the assistant coach. But I think that they're onto something. It's going to be really interesting to see what Brennan Vasquez and Lucho Costa do. Brenner, I don't know what the hell happened with this guy, but he's starting off the bench now, which is very, very interesting. Yeah, again, don't make mistakes. Don't make mistakes in your own end because that's just going to be costly. And like Montreal has a tendency to lose against Cincy, so
yeah, true. It's gonna be an interesting game, and yes, I agree that they improved a lot. That's for sure. I think that the loss against Charlotte, it's just because the goalkeeper of Charlotte, Kalina, just I think made about as per Google just 6 saves, but he was really good, really good.
What I see.
Why are you laughing, Tristan?
I just saw Simple Guy reply to the stream. This is great show, guys. If I've learned anything so far, it's that it takes Tristan Demo a really long time to finish his glass of wine. I'm enjoying it. Okay, I'm enjoying it.
A good one, man.
It's a good glass. It's a good bottle.
What I think Montreal have to obviously, I've been begging for different tactics. I know it won't happen. So what I do want to see though is movement, because for sure Montreal, we'll see the same patterns, or it's part of the way we play, I guess. To really use the options that are available, that like Wilfried Nancy tends to say, these options are often defenders very close to Sebastian Breza, defensive midfielder, Victor Wanyama dropping deep. So building from the back, I don't have to explain it. What is problematic at this moment is that they're so very few movement when these players are on the ball that they often, will take a touch too much because they're waiting for a player to get loose and it doesn't happen. So now you create turnovers because you pass to players that are marked. So I think that's something easy to change, is that you get some movement through the players. You work on patterns of maybe Mihailovic dropping a bit deeper or making some runs through midfield. You're gonna see maybe Torres cutting closer inside. I don't know, man. I'm just throwing things out, but whatever you do, there need to be movement off the ball, and that we've not seen a lot. And I want to shout out to Eric Chanois. He made a really interesting article on Vieux-Parc, and he and his Trois Constats, and that was one of his. Took him for him, and it just jumps to your eyes now when you know it. So movement of the ball, it's so crucial. It's something that you learn so young when you're playing, and it's something you're not seeing much from Montreal. So this could be a solution that doesn't take much of a twitch to your system, to your style. So they can get that moving. Maybe we'll see some improvement, guys. So yeah, we'll move on quickly, guys, to the women national team. Hadi, you want to put the
Yeah, I'll put the screen on. We have such a long show today, but like we can't avoid
we'll go
any one of our subjects.
Yeah,
So
we'll go really quickly, guys. So I'll read out the list for people who are listening on the audio platform. So called up by Bev Priestman, there's 4 goalies: Sabrina D'Angelo, Steph Labbé, Aaron McLeod, and Kaylin Sheridan. We have 3 center backs: Kadisha Buchanan, Vanessa Gilles, and Shalina Zadorsky. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fullbacks in Zoe Burns, Gabrielle Cal, Alicia Chapman, Ashley Lawrence, Jade Riviere, and Sura Yeka. In midfield, Marie-Yasmine Alidou d'Anjou, Jessie Fleming, Julia Grosso, Victoria Pickett, Quinn, Sophie Schmidt, Desiree Scott, and Sarah Startigakis. And up front, Janine Becky, Jornine Hodema, Chloe Lacasse, Adriana Leon, Nichelle Prince, Diane Rose, Christine Sinclair, and Evelyn Vien. These are the players who have been called up for the celebration tour against Nigeria on the West Coast, on Vancouver Island and the city of Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, any surprises in this list? What do we think of this list? That's the only thing I want to know from you guys.
there's 2 things that really jump out for me. First of all, only 3 center backs.
Again,
That's a bit too. Yeah, I just hope that we're not going to see an injury. Now, of course, it's friendlies, but still. And the second thing is the appearance of Zoe Burns, that I don't know at all. First appearance for her with the Canadian national team. She plays at the University of Southern California. I don't know her at all. But it's going to be interesting to see what she's able to bring if she gets some minutes. And of course, the last few games for Stephanie Labbé, we all know that she retired, but since it's a celebration tour, of course she's going to be here. But yeah, I just hope that we're over. I know that it's a celebration tour. I just hope that we're over the celebration part and we're starting to build for the future. So I just hope that Labbé will not get the 2 starts because you need also to use those games to build for the future of the national team. And it's pressing because you do have, I think, World Cup qualifications coming very soon. So yeah, we'll see.
Tristan.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, this is those friendlies probably should have been played like earlier. If I'm being quite honest. I don't know. I very surprisingly deep at fullback.
Yeah.
I didn't expect. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised to see just how many center backs Canada has, and that's not even including I'm forgetting her name, Bianca St. George, who plays for Chicago, who's also a fullback. So. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see if one of those fullbacks can kind of Kamal Miller their way into a center back role.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, if Alistair Johnston does it, like not a very tall and strong, particularly compared to a Kamal Miller, it'll be interesting to see if someone can kind of model themselves. I mean, like we've seen a lot, in the women's game too. We see players play in different positions for the national team in terms of team needs. Midge Purse tried to do that for the U.S. National team. So it'll be interesting to see if one player just comes out and I think a friendly is a great way to try and do some of that. I believe, was it Jade Rivière that we saw play in a different role? I
No,
can't
she
remember.
always plays as a right wing back or right back, Jade Riviere. But Quinn is able to play a central defender.
Quinn can play, yeah. They can for sure play in a center back role. So that, in essence, makes it a 4 center back lineup. Even though I think they're a little better as a 6. Kind of
I agree.
For sure.
I agree, 100%. 100%.
We got to see
you
that.
also have Sophie Schmidt that can play as a central defender too, but she's not as good.
But yeah, this is going to lead us into World Cup preparation, and I think that we're qualified, aren't we?
But you do have the CONCACAF W Championship that's coming pretty soon. Between the 4th of July till the 18th of July.
So
that's the new competition.
So that's the thing for me, right? If you're already qualified, it's a bit of a double-edged sword in the sense that you get a little less competitive games. So maybe more area for testing, but at the same time,
you're not qualified to the 2023 World Cup yet.
That was my question, right?
Sorry,
okay.
You're not. The tournament, the CONCACAF W Championship, will be used as qualifiers for the 2023 Women's World Cup, as well as the 2024 Summer Olympics in France too.
Honestly,
both of them.
Particularly don't agree with that way of doing that. I understand why they kind of did that, but I don't agree with that. But so this is important. You have to, in the region, I think Canada is pretty safe when it comes to playing in other against other competition, except for obviously the US. But we're coming into a very, this team is a defending gold medalist. And I understand that, a lot of the teams, like France wasn't there. Like there's been some teams that haven't been there, but a lot of people are going to see Canada as a team that they have to beat now, even more than before. So, we're in a period where we're edging out the end of the Sinclair era. Like they better need to get their stuff together and find a solid way to consistently go to the top. It'll be very interesting to see. Hopefully we get more than a few friendlies here and there so that we can really see how this team is going. But damn, is it looking great though. There's individually, how Jessie Fleming is part of this Chelsea squad that won so many things. So future is bright. There's obviously, I mean, look, the you bring up a great point with the center backs that'll be interesting to see if more can come out of the pipeline. I don't know what necessarily the NCAA situation is, but it'll be very interesting. It'll also be interesting to see how Gabrielle Carl and Evelyn Bien, after their first few games in Europe, how that can translate into the national team. So yeah.
Really interesting.
It's gonna be nice.
Guys, I've always admitted, the more of the depth players of the team, I have a struggle a bit to talk about them. So, I just can't wait to see it again. That Buchanan Gilles pairing, they did so well in the Arnold Clark Cup. I love them, and I want to see more of Jessie Fleming always. So, and it's gonna be fun to see Kristen Sinclair back too. We don't know for how long she has left with the national team. So just the call up is great. So it's gonna be cool, really really interesting. But I'm Team Hadi, man. I really hope that yes, it's a celebration tour, but business mode a bit more than what we saw in Ottawa and Montreal. I hope so. So yeah, man, that pretty much closes it out for the women national team. We're going straight to part 2, guys, and we're skipping social media this week because, man, we went so long. We had so many subjects, so we'll have to sacrifice somewhere. We don't want to keep you on for 3 hours. So, Adi, finish out the show with Tristan's favorite game. Choices.
Yeah, we're gonna go with choices. I had very interesting tweets that I picked out, but as you said, we can't really, have that show for 3 hours, unfortunately. So let's wait for the bell ring and let's start with choices. Okay, so let's start with choices, guys. I have 3 choices for you. Okay, so are you guys ready?
Now.
Oh, we doing the okay.
Are you guys ready?
Oh yes.
Okay, perfect. If you're ready, you're ready. You guys are John Herdman, and you're about to choose your final squad for the World Cup. You have a choice. You have, unfortunately, too many midfielders,
I know where
you
this is going.
and you have to cut one of those 3. Would you cut Atiba Hutchinson, Mark Anthony Kay, or Jonathan Osorio? What will
You're
be your
diabolical, my guy.
Everybody thinks that I was gonna say Piet and Kone.
Yeah.
No,
I was sure you was.
I'm not gonna say Piet and Kone. So, do you guys want me to repeat the question, the choice?
I'm good, man. If
I'm
Tristan
all right.
needs it, but I'm good.
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Who wants to start?
I can start.
Go ahead, Sam.
I'd cut Mark Anthony Kay. Okay, and not willingly, of course, just because we're playing that choices game. But yeah, no, you cannot cut Tiba. And it. I never really, well, of course, because of the Toronto connection, but I'm not a huge fan of Jonathan Osorio, but I can appreciate his. He has a very important role in this team, I think, and his profile is the tad offensive that we need compared to Mark Anthony Kay, where maybe he lacks a bit in that role. Eustachio, Atiba are able to play that deeper lying role. So Mark Anthony Kay becomes a bit of an expandable in this situation. So just because we're playing choices, because if I'm John Urban, for sure Mark Anthony Kay is going to Qatar. But otherwise, yeah, because we have to make a choice. Mine would be Mark Anthony Kay. How do you put Atiba in that list?
Oh yeah, I have to, because I'm like, maybe someone sees him as the 38-year-old and not being able to play at the World Cup level. I don't know, man.
Come on, if you cut Atiba, you're going straight to hell.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Come on, too nice, this guy. Too nice to cut.
I'm gonna be boring and say that and say K as well. I really like Ozo. I think he might be the one guy that goes to Europe after the World Cup.
No.
Ozo, really?
Yeah, I think we tend to look to a lot of the stars, and like on the world stage, a lot of the really popular players, a lot of the high profile players on Canada they're already going to be at big clubs by then. Yeah. So people are probably going to look like lest we forget, he scored at Azteca. That's huge.
Yeah.
So
the only thing is that he's 29. For me,
but don't you remember that? Don't you remember Keylor Navas was pretty up there as well when he signed for Real Madrid?
Yeah, but he's a goalkeeper. It's different. Like, goalkeeper can play until he's 40.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to sign at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I understand.
But, maybe a Nottingham Forest. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see him kind of at that big stage. I really like Mark Anthony Kay, though, except for that one kind of thing he did in Costa Rica.
I would cut Osorio.
Oh,
Yeah, I would really cut Osorio. It's a player that I really love, by the way, and just because we're playing choices, that's the one I would cut. Because that offensive drive that he can bring, I think you can have the same in a much younger Ishmael Kone. You can have that from him. Uh, either Kone or maybe Hoylet can play the same role, and I think Hoylet has to be here. So I don't know. I like Osorio, but I think K. Yes, he made a mistake in the game against Costa Rica, but he's so important. Like before
for
his
sure.
red card, he was doing very well. I liked the way he played. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's not good," and I was like, "No, like he's doing everything. Like he was playing very well until he made those stupid mistake." So for me, no, K has to be here. Has to be here. Um, so that's my answer regarding that choice. Second choice for you guys. Of course, you are Gabriel Gervais. And you have a decision to take. A very, very big decision. Unfortunately, Joey Saputo doesn't give you a big budget. And he tells you you have enough money for one of these projects. Either rebrand a second time or winterize Sat Saputo. What would you do?
You want me to go first, Sam?
Go
or-
ahead, Tristan.
It's the stadium. It's the stadium. It really is.
Oh, no.
Like it's not serious if you're not doing that. The world, well, I mean, the world, look, the Canada's national team has been going around images of this team has been going around the world of them playing in winter. For once they've done that. And they've made it to the World Cup. Two of those players, I mean, more of them played, but were Montreal players. And you can't do that here. Are you kidding? It's a spectacle, right? So you're not going to play in the winter for a full season. You're going to play in the winter 2 games, 3 games, so do that. Other sports have made it a big thing. The New England Patriots have been winning countless games in the middle of winter. So have the Green Bay Packers. The NHL made it a spectacle with their Winter Classic. Why not do that here with the sport of soccer, where the team literally has a fucking snowflake as a logo? You're this would be the extension of the rebrand. Now, do I agree with the rebrand or not? That's a different question. But at least finish the project. Make it worthwhile. Be the team that wants to accept that we play in a winter market, which is the truth. Whether you liked what Kingsley said, it kind of is the truth. We're in a winter market. And we could, and to quote Coney Marinaro, we have 3 stadiums, but we have no stadiums. When it snows, we can't play at an Olympic Stadium anyway. So why not winterize the stadium so that we could properly play when it snows? And
I agree with Shan. I don't want to watch another game as cold as yesterday.
Well, that
he
brings a
was
good
beside me.
Yeah, and that brings a good point. It's been tough to fool Stat Saputo recently. Let's say
but make it an event.
Yeah.
Be like, this is frozen tundra start of the season. Kick off the season and let's be cold for a month and then it gets better.
Man, as a season ticket holder, I
Like,
would go
call
maybe
those the
to.
frozen tickets. Like,
I would
there's
go,
so many
yeah, but I
possibilities
would go to
that you
two
could do with
games,
this.
but I would not go to 6 games in a
You're not. I
freaking
mean, we're
cold.
not doing 6 games.
You're
How
doing
many?
maybe
How many
three.
games are at? How many games are at? Are at Olympic Stadium?
Well, we would have had
Two,
1, 2,
two, three.
3.
Yeah,
If there's
but that,
Champions League,
but
more.
Champions League 4.
But
but
Yeah.
Champions League,
but
like, it's special.
but Don Garber said that he doesn't want to do what he's doing anymore. Like he wants to make sure that we go to a home game and away game, a home game and away game. So
That
what?
requires
Okay, but I mean, like, at this point, there's always ways to work your way around that, right? You could. There's like, look, in a season, there's always a West Coast road trip.
Yeah,
Start, like one game, and then you go out west, or you go in Florida. There's ways to work your way around it.
interesting.
It's like you're not gonna have a 4-game home stint in the middle of February. Like, this is just doesn't happen, right?
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
and then you Tom Brady the F into the playoffs.
Okay, good. I like
Guys,
your decision.
guys,
It's your choice. It's your
let's
choice,
be real
man.
here. Let's be real here. As long like we all shovel the snow from December until March. I get it. I absolutely get it that, like, okay, you sit out and like whatever games, but like we lived through that winter anyway. We know how to dress up for cold weather. Like, what is it like? Is it that hard to buy a ticket for a 90-minute game? When yes, I get it. It's cold. I get it. I really do. But like, are we really saying that we can't go to a game in March because it's -5? Like, are we
Man,
really
it was
like really,
it
for
was
one game?
-10 yesterday.
Yeah,
It
but
was
Tristan, don't
cold.
forget that in September when it rains, there's like 10,
Yeah,
11,000.
I mean, look, yes, absolutely, and I think that the roof should be covering
Yeah, for sure.
at least 90% of the seats, but
Okay.
that goes into the renos, and like I understand that that is tricky, and like they probably are going to have to redo the roof or stuff like that. But like, if you're gonna make it, you're giving me that choice.
Yeah.
I am taking the choice to make it right.
Okay. So you gave your decision. So you would
I'm not looking at the
winterize-
cost. You gave me a choice.
Yeah, I did. You would winterize the stadium and not do another rebrand.
No.
Sam.
Because I really feel that both go together.
Yeah,
And,
they don't. Not in choices.
No, but I'll explain
Not
why.
in choices,
No, because-
man.
Not in choices, dude.
No, I know, but listen, there's a reason why they didn't say the attendances last year, and there's only one reason, and we all know it, because the attendances went down. Team Chan, better please. Holy Gail, that's
Eve's mom.
Yeah, better bathroom. Yeah, of course, that's number one. But yeah. So rebrand, whether you accept it or not, whether you're for or not, affected the attendances negatively. So now you're gonna ask people that some people have like decided not to go, and now you're gonna ask the people who remain to go sit in -20. Yesterday I loved it. I loved it. Okay,
You're still not
but
answering the choices.
yeah,
dude.
but that
Answer
question
the
needs a build up.
question.
You can't just answer it, and because it's a touchy subject, Eddie, man, and so listen, if we were still Montreal Impact, I think I would go with Tristan. But because of what I saw with the attendances last year, I just think that it's gonna be it's the idea is good, and Tristan, you should be the one who market it, man. You're selling it. I almost changed my mind, man. You're really good to sell your idea, but
Hey, my DMs are open.
okay, okay. So I hope everyone listens. So but still, I think that because of the rebrand, that idea is you need to bring the fans back. There's some people that left, and because of that, I'll go with rebranding again.
Wow. I'm sorry, Sam. I'm with Tristan on
Okay.
this one. For me, I will winterize the stadium because I think we need to take the next step in our organization, and we need to be better at our infrastructure. So I'll keep it that way. It's funny. NHLP 5000 said, at the cost of 75 to 100 million, do you winterize the stadium, knowing that Parc Olympique owns the stadium? We kind of answered it without giving the amount. I'm just going to give you the last choice before we wrap it up. And that's going to be a bit tough, okay? I'm telling you, because
Tougher
it's going to
than
be
that.
tough. It's going to be tough. You guys, there's been something, and you are kind of lucky, and you take the place of Dr. Nick Bontis, the president of Canada Soccer. Okay, uh, your team goes to the World Cup, and obviously, as you know, you have prize money when you go to the World Cup. So it's 2 millions for preparations, and then 10 millions for participating in the group stage, and then so on, depending on where you go in the competition. So let's say that Canada only gets, doesn't go too far in the competition, just goes to the group stage, finishes third, and that's it. You get 12 million back. Okay. All expenses are paid. You have a prize money of $12 million American dollars. So, of course, someone gets wind of that, and his name is Don Garber. And he comes to you and he's like, because he tweeted that today, saying that it was his goal for Canada to be in the World Cup. Well, when he accepted an expansion in the MLS, because it's all his doing, right? Don Garber, he comes to you and he's like, "Of your 12 millions, I want 5 millions. Because of me, you are in the World Cup. And if you don't agree, all your teams leave the MLS. What would you do?"
Okay, so that situation is like a final, because 5 million for 3 teams is like, that's pretty low, my guy.
That's what he wants. It's bonus money. For him, it's about principles. It's not about money. It's about principles. Who wants to start? I told you it's going to be tough.
Nah, I'll start.
Good. Good.
Well, I swear at him.
That's
for
some
sure.
like Godfather shit, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you an offer that you can't refuse.
Shot. I'm gonna get shot after this.
I'd swear at him for sure a few times, but no, I think I'm not a fan of those who say Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal should play in CPL. I think we need these teams playing at a higher level, much higher level. So I'd give his money, and what can we do, man? I just give him the money, but I tell him that he's a piece of whatever he wants, man. And
wow. I'm surprised.
No, but listen, I mean, I know that's just ripping people off, but it's so important, I think. So
yeah,
and
okay.
that's not
your...
the worst piece of mafia stuff that happened in sports, man. So that's not much.
Tristan is still thinking. Do you want me to go first, Tristan?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because I feel that you're still thinking about this. I would tell Don Garber F off.
I'd tell him too, by the way, for sure.
Oh yeah. And I would gladly go to CPL. The reason behind it is 12 million for Canada Soccer is a lot of money. It's not like the symbol, it symbolizes a lot for Canada soccer, a lot more than what it symbolizes for someone like the MLS. That each franchise is valued at 250 million, right? So for me, if Don Garber wants to play that game, I would not play the game with him. I would just go back and build something else with the CanPL. So for me, it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Tristan?
$12 million is significant for Canada soccer. I agree. And I was speaking with some people in the Canada circles that just like really think that this money should be really invested smartly and use the notoriety to get Canada really into second gear with
Yeah.
that. And I completely agree with these people. I think that this is like there's a real big opportunity. So yeah, I probably would turn that down as well. Tell them tell them a thank you,
Yeah.
and be like, okay, so I mean, fair enough. Like frankly, uh, MLS and the MLS academies did a lot, and I would tell them I would try. You know what? This is what I would say, Don. If our future collaboration holds to a $5 million thread,
Yeah. What are we, man?
What are we doing? What are we doing, my guy? But frankly, if that's what it is, thank you for allowing 3 of our clubs to do what they were able to do. And we will gladly renegotiate a buyout where you give us, like, how much money are these 3 teams combined worth? Yeah, a lot of money. So that might allow us to raise the salary cap in the Canadian Premier League and make for a really interesting league setup. So, merci, bonsoir. Yeah, that's probably what I would say.
So that's it for choices for me, man. It was interesting, guys, to hear your thoughts and and everything.
Okay.
And Eve says that probably it's not really legal, and I agree with her. But
I mean, this is very not legal.
Well, what's legal in choices, anyways, man?
Exactly. So that's it. That's it for choices today.
Cool, man. And that's it for the show, guys. It's been wow, it was a big stack show, but we went through it. It was really cool. Tristan, thank you so much for hopping on, man. Tristan, for someone living under a rock who doesn't know you, where can they find you, man?
Right now, you could find me. I write for the Canadian Press for the sport that we can talk about here.
Yes, yeah, we can, of course. We
Also
can.
the other football that we can't talk about here.
Uh,
I cover the soccer for MLSsoccer.com on a freelance basis. So, I'm not. And you can Sportsnet sometimes and other places because I'm a freelancer. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
There you go. And Hadi, even people living under a rock know you, so no need to introduce, man.
People that listen to the show, I think they will know me. So
Of course.
or else there's
I
a
was
problem,
just kidding,
right?
man. Thank you for everyone who stayed the show and even anyone who came in and out. It was a pleasure, man. Thanks for the correspondences during the week. We love to hear from you guys. Everyone who hits us up at TBIR on Twitter. And special thanks to CanFC for the platform. Until next week, guys, have a safe week. Enjoy, and we see you next time for another episode of The Ball is Wrong.